So welcome to class. We pick up from where we had stopped yesterday. And I think according to our handouts, the next position that we should discuss is make or buy. That's all. Is it make or buy or drop or retain? The next on the line is make or buy. Now make or buy, make or buy, it is also some, or rather, it's also called outsourcing. It's also called outsourcing decision. Now, there's a decision that is made in a situation where what you require, you can either make it in-house or you can get it from an external supplier. A very good example is food. Food you can make in your house or you can outsource it from a hotel. So the major consideration here is how much will I pay to the external source and how much will it cost me to make in-house. For example, this evening you can ask yourself, how much will it take me to prepare my supper? And not only how much in terms of money, but also in terms of time. Right from the sourcing of the materials all the way to when you will have washed the dishes. That is time that is supposed to be considered. Vis-a-vis, how long will it take you to go to the hotel and how much it will cost you. In most cases, outsourcing is expensive. If you go to the hotel, it will be more expensive. But there are some considerations that are made. We call them the qualitative. There are some considerations that we make in deciding whether to outsource or not. One of them is the behavior of fixed costs. As we said yesterday, you must check, will my fixed costs change or they will not change? Like when you buy from the hotel, you don't cook from your house. Can you go to the landlord na uambie wewe upikiangi kwake? Consider kupunguza rent. Can it work? That's something that you need to check. Yeah. You never know. You need to check. You see, like for you people, you come here in the evening, and you're already here for like 2 hours. But your colleagues during the daytime, they are here kutoka saa 2 mpaka saa 4. So they are here like for 6 hours. Should you be charging the same fee? That's something maybe you need to consult the principal and argue whether it is fair or not fair. But for your case, that may not work because the charge now here is not dependent on the duration you stay, but on the service that you receive. Because even those who come during the day, we don't teach them many hours than you. The other thing that you need to check is effect on staff morale. When you outsource, how or what kind of a message are you sending to your staff? For the ladies who are in this class, if you are married and your husband every evening comes home with food that he has bought from the hotel, and he tells you he understands you have been busy, umekuwa kazini the whole day, after job, ukakimbia class, then sasa saa hii saa 2 saa 3 ndio unaingia kwa nyumba. So the fellow has bought food and even imekuja na disposable plates. So kazi yako tu ni kukula, kutupa hizo kwa dustbin. Would you encourage him to do that? Jalen says yes. Yeah. Would you encourage him? Sharin, would you encourage him to do that? You're not sure. What do you think would happen again? Yeah? Even back and go. Yes. Yeah, that's the extent of the anger. Janet is surprised. Bernard, what do you think? How she will react? Yeah? Yes. The lady will be very bitter. As we are told by Kelvin, she can even pack and go. Why is because by buying food, you are simply telling the lady, you are not a good cook. And none of us would want to be told that we are not good. All of us, we believe that we are good. Is that so? Wewe mwenyewe ukijipima, like now as a student, unafikiria wewe ndio mwanafunzi mwerevu kabisa kwa hii class. As a man, you think you are the strongest in this room. You are the most handsome. If you are ready, you think you are the most beautiful in this room. And so on. Na si vibaya. Si vibaya. So when someone now is telling you that you are not the best, you will fight that to the bitter end. Ni kama tu saa hii ukuje pale staff upate nimeindo hapo tukiwa na Mr. Wafula. Badala uniulize swali ya A.M.A, uende kuuliza Mr. Wafula. Akikujibu na wewe ukitoka hapo uniambie asante kwa hili mwalimu. Nitakwambia sawa kwa hili. But you can be sure I will not be very happy. Na next time when I come to class I will close the monitor you. Ukiwa na swali nitakukumbusha enda ukatafute nani. So those are two small things that we do, but they really harm. They have a bad effect on people. Again, for the ladies, assume you have this boyfriend, and when he calls you for a cup of tea, he only buys you a cup of tea, chai, hii ya kawaida, na mandazi pia. That's what you are used to. But on this day, you are accompanied by another lady friend. Ukifika, jamaa ananunua kuku full. Would you enjoy the chicken? You cannot enjoy because the guy is simply telling you wewe bei yako ni mandazi pia. Lakini huyu umekuja na yeye bei yake ni kuku. Yeah, so no one would want to be treated that way. The other thing that you need to check is the importance that is attached to the item. Items that we highly value, we would want to do them by ourselves. But items we don't highly value, we can assign someone else. That's the concept behind the issue of high table. You see, when you go to functions, unakuanga na high table. Wale watu tunapeleka kwa high table, they are the guests that we highly value. Na ikiwezekana we want to serve them ourselves. Ama yule mtu tutatuma hapo ni mtu anajua kuserve. Lakini hawa watu wengine wako kwa nyasi, how they can be served by anyone. Wakose chakula wapate vijiko, wasipate all the varieties, you don't care so much. Yeah. So the other thing is what we call the future prospects. Is that item an item that you require to make in future or to use more in future or now? Those are things that you need to check when it comes to make or buy. The other thing that you need to check is the alternative use of the resources that become idle. To say, for example, you go to your house for supper. For you to make supper in your house, it will take you 2 good hours. Tangu kununua mboga, kupika, kukula na kuosha, 2 hours. But kama ukapitia tu kwa hoteli 20 minutes. So ama hapa tupeane 1 hour. So this is a whole 60 minutes. Lakini ukikula kwa hoteli ni 20 minutes. So if difference here 40 minutes, what else will you be doing? Things. Will you do something that will generate more money? Because we already have said when you buy from the hotel, it will be more expensive. Tuseme kwa hoteli umelipa 100. Lakini ukipika kwa nyumba, uto tu vitu hivyo tutafika 40 ama tuseme tutafika 70. So tukifika 70 kila kitu, you see now hapa umeongeza that. So you need to ask yourself, these 40 minutes zenye umeokoa, will you use them to do something that will generate 30 shillings or more for you? If yes, then kibia kwa hoteli ukule. But if no, tulia upike kwa nyumba and save this money. So you also need to check the alternative use of the resources that will become idle. So having said that, we can go to our illustration questions. We can go to our illustration questions. And we read, that is supposed to be question. Eunice Mwangi, do you belong to my class? That is question number 8. Read through that question. You want to speak? Maybe type, because I've muted everyone. Eunice. Read on your own, read on your own. So, Eunice, you are saying you belong to my class. Karibu, I rarely see you. Okay. Have you been added to the special group for A.M.A, Eunice? Okay, so that's good. So this question, it is about 2 items, as you have read. So we will have details here, and then we have key parts. We have key parts, and then we have the display. We have the display. So this is analysis table. Analysis table for 8,000 units of each product. For 8,000 units of each product. 8,000 units for each product. Now, what you need to do, as I told you yesterday, is always to begin with additional information. So information one says that material costs for keypads are expected to increase by 5% in 6 months' time. Material costs for display screens are only expected to increase by 2%, but with immediate effect. So, tuandike direct materials or materials costs. Materials costs. When you are told that materials costs will increase in 6 months' time, we are supposed to take the 160. This 160, you divide it by 2, and then you add 160 divided by 2. Why I'm doing that is because this first half is for the first 6 months, and then this other half is for the next 6 months. Now, the second 6 months is what will experience an increase of 5%. So this one you multiply by 1.05. One 164. And then when you go to the next 116, now these ones, they are increasing immediately by 2%. So you multiply by 1.16. So give me the answer. 118.32. 118.32. Let us go to number 2, which says direct labor costs are purely variable and not expected to change over the next 1 year. So labor costs, now if it is variable, a cost is called variable if the total amount will change as the number of units change. But as you can see here, the number of units have not changed. They are 80, just like it was in the previous period or the previous year. So the cost then will remain as we have here. This is 40 and this is 60. So they'll just remain that. Number 3, inasema heat and power costs include an apportionment of the general factory overhead for heat and power, as well as the cost of heat and power directly used for the production of keypads and display screens. The general apportionment included is calculated using 50% of the direct labor cost for each component and would be incurred irrespective of whether the components are manufactured in-house or not. So we go to heat and power costs. Heat and power costs. Heat and power costs. Now in the heat and power, we are told there is an apportionment of the general cost. Now the word apportionment and the word general, they refer to irrelevant costs. So those ones should be removed. And we are told that apportionment is 50% of labor. So what then we shall do, tutaenda hapo kuna 64. Now hii 64, we reduce it by 50% of labor, which was 40. Because that is irrelevant. The apportioned cost is irrelevant. Mm-hmm. 40, 44. Then tukikuta kwa huyu mwingine, it is 88. So 88 minus 50% of 60. $58. The next information says that machine costs are semi-variable. Anytime you see the word semi-variable, the high-low method should quickly come to your mind. It's the one that we use to separate the cost, not unless you are guided otherwise. Like this question has guided us otherwise. The variable element relates to setup costs, which are based upon the number of batches made. The keypad machines has fixed cost of 4,000 per annum, and the display screen machines has fixed cost of 6,000 per annum. While both components are currently made in batches of 500, this would result to change with immediate effect to batches of 400. So what we need to do, we may need a working down there. We may need a working down there, the batches or current batches. We may need a working current batches for the key. If I use K to represent keypad, it is 80,000. Actually, it will be the same. Because all of them, they have 8,000. And the number of units are the same. So itakuwa 80 divided by, right now they have been 500. So 80,000 divided by 500. 160. So the new batches will be 80,000 to divide by 400. 200. So tukikuja sasa hapa tasema machine costs. So the machine cost will be right now it is 26. And you can see in the keypad we are told 4,000 is fixed. So you less 4, and first of all you divide by the current 160, so that you know one batch is costing how much. Then you multiply by the new number of batches. Multiply by the new number of batches, which are 200. That will give us what? 27.5. Kuja kwa huyu mwingine ni 30. You minus the current one, the fixed one, which is 6. You divide by 160, multiplied by 200, the new number of batches. The new number of batches. That kutoka hapo we have depreciation. Now depreciation we are told by information 5 that 60% of depreciation and insurance costs relate to an apportionment of the general factory depreciation and insurance costs. The remaining 40% is specific to the manufacture of keyboards, keypads, and display screens. So I told you general costs are irrelevant, but specific costs are relevant. So we only work with 40%. So 40% of 84. 40% of 84. 20? That's 3.6. And then 40% of 96. 38.4. 38.4. So let's get the relevant costs. Relevant making costs. The relevant making costs. Relevant making costs. You add these costs. Totally 309.1, 304.72, 304.72. From there, you bring external purchase costs. External purchase costs. External purchase costs. If you look at the question up there in the first paragraph, they had said keypad, we shall get one at 4.1. So 4.1 times 80 is how much? $328. And this other one is 4.3 times 80. 344. So when you have that, you now make a decision. You simply compare this and this. If you decide to make by yourself, you will incur this. Ukinunua nje, you will incur this. So which one is better? Do you buy, do you make? You should make. And the other one, do you buy, do you make? You should make. Yeah, it's as simple as that. So this one, I'll not even solve any other question on make or buy, because it's simply a question of comparing the cost of making versus the cost of buying. So if you're able to accumulate those costs, it becomes very, very easy to handle that. So I want us to allow a few minutes for prayers. Then I'll be back so that we discuss the last decision, which is called drop or retain. So that means on your own, you can do those other questions that are there. It's just a matter of compiling those costs, and then you compare. Good. So the next step or the next decision is called drop or retain decision. Drop or retain decision. I don't know whether in your life you have ever thought of dropping someone or you are dropped. Has it ever happened? You cannot have escaped both. Either will drop mtu ama ukadropiwa. Ama ulikuwa umefikiria kudrop. Has it ever happened? Eh? Time of marriage. You drop marriage. Oh. Time of marriage, you drop someone. What makes you drop them? Or what made you think of dropping? Or why do you think they dropped you? Okay, wacha tuachane na hiyo, nyinyi hamuko kwa social life. Me where I live kuna hiyo mambo ya drop na kudropiwa. Inakaa nyinyi kwenu hakuna hiyo mambo. What about hii masomo? Umewahi fikiria hivyo kama utaachana na CPA? Na ukajitafutia examples ya watu wako matajiri sana na hata hawajasoma CPA. What made you think of that? Kuanguka. Si ndio kushikwa, eh? Yes. So there are two reasons why we make the drop or retain decisions. Number one is when the actual performance is below the expected performance. Wakati umekalia hiyo mtihani, hakuna mtu anakaliaga mtihani akigoja kuanguka. You sit for the exam expecting to pass, but the results come, the actual that you have failed. Those are the moments you feel like, I want to abandon, I want to drop, I want to stop. The second reason is when you have seen something that appears slightly better. I don't know whether some of us here are married, or maybe some of us are in very strong relationships. As you walk around, especially those of us who are married, do you see other people who unajiambia this one could have been better? Hata kama hutaongea na hutafanya anything, kwa kichwa yako wewe unaona tu na unasema. Does it happen? Okay, sisi watu wa kanisa tuna hiyo mambo. Dangerous. Si ni nature. Si unatembea tu unaona mtu, lakini na kuona si vibaya, sio? I don't think kuona ni vibaya. Ama wewe kuonwa si vibaya. Makosa itaingia now when you start taking what? Action. That's when now the problem will come in. So, or even where you work, you people, there are times you feel like, can I get this job elsewhere? Can I apply for another job? You hear of another offer, you feel like, I need to go to that other place. Now, those circumstances reflect a situation where a new option that appears better than the current one has been identified. Those are the two reasons. Nimesema ya kwanza, the current performance is not as good as the expected. And number two, you have seen a new option that appears better. Now, in real life, you should be more guided by the one of the results, but not the one of the new option. Because in real life, they tell us that the grass on the other side is always what? Greener, until you get to that other side and you find that it is even drier than where you have come from. I always hear some people say, those who are not married, they are eager to get into marriage. And those who are already married, they are wondering how they can get out of, yes. Because the other side is always what? Yeah. And I think that's the nature of human beings. We are never satisfied. Even yourself, you remember there are days, ulikuwa unasema, mimi nikifika set 5, takuwa niko sawa, nitatosheka. Sasa ulifika 5, hukutosheka, sasa uko 6. Sasa hii maybe unajiambia mimi nikimaliza 6 masomo tumeachania hapo. I normally find some of you telling me mimi nikimaliza 6 class name tumeachana. Then after one semester unarudi hapa tunapatana unaniuliza kwa nini unafunza sifa? Unafunza hii ingine. You still want to come back because that is the nature of human beings. Now that of new is dangerous. Actually they say usiache mpachao kwa msara upitao. Don't be a person who is driven by new things. New things will always be there. Be driven by poor what? Results. If someone is not performing or something is not performing, that is when you should think of changing. Actually, they also say it is better a devil that you know than an angel that you do not know. So that is how it should be. Now, some factors or what you need to compare, you need to compare the total results of dropping and the total results of retaining. Why we are talking of total is that person you have in your relationship. They have their good side and they have their bad side. Even me and you, we are in a relationship, teacher-student. I have my good side, I have my bad side. Kuna wakati maybe unaniangalia hivyo unakasirika na mimi. Hata mimi kuna wakati na kuangalia na kasirika na wewe. Hiyo ndio point wa mambo. Na kuna wakati tunafurahiana. So hizo plus minus, when you balance parity, if the pluses are more than the negatives, then you remain in that relationship. But if the negatives are more than the positives, then at that point you may want to move out. But don't expect that you will get into any relationship that is always 100% okay. Hakuna, not unless the one you have with your God. These others will always have issues. Is that so? We have issues. Even people who are married, you ask them and they'll tell you their days walikuwa wanafikiria hawezi kosana, lakini nafika mahali hata mnakaa even a week hakuna mtu anaongea na mwingine, na you are in the same house. It happens. Alafu tena mambo inakuwa sawa, mnaongea mnaendelea tu. Those are realities of life. So you cannot get 100%. So we look at positive, negative. That's why you see some people remaining in some relationships, and according to you, they should have left kitambo, but the person is still there. Why? It's because there are some things that person is considering the positives, they are more than what? The negatives. Or even you people, you are working, I'm sure you seriously complain about your employer, how they don't pay you enough money, how they overwork you, how they don't recognize your effort, ile kujitolea, ile self removal unafanyanga. But you don't resign. You have been with them for several years now, and you have not resigned. The reason is, ni kweli hiyo pesa unaona haitoshi, lakini you are better with those few coins than without. You can imagine now without that salary, how your bills will be paid. So unakaa tu hapo unasema najua si mzuri, lakini at least inanisaidia kulipa bills hapa na pale na kusukuma maisha nikigoja a better future. Those kind of things. So some factors that you need to consider. One is the behavior of fixed cost. That is something you need to consider. I think I have explained that. Number two, effect on staff morale. When you close one department, like tuseme hii class sasa imefungwa, hizi zingine ndio zinaendelea, how do we affect those others? You see, class ikifungwa, the teachers who teach here, they become jobless. Sasa wale wako ile classes, they should not start laughing at us. Atu wanatuambia tuliwaambia mfanye kazi kwa bidii mkakataa, sasa class yenu imefungwa, mtakula nini? They should know what they say in Kiswahili. Ukiona cha mwenzio chanyolewa na chako unafanya nini? Unatia maji. Maybe it is the decision of the management. Leo Tuesday tunafunga hii class. Next week Tuesday tunafunga hiyo ingine. The other Tuesday tunafunga. So when you see those things happening, unaanza kujitayarisha. Na hiyo kujitayarisha haikuagi mzuri to the employer. Mimi nikiona wameanza kufunga ile class, nitaanza kujipanga. Na hiyo kujipanga, it will not be good for the school. Maybe nitapata kashule kengine hapa job nyingine, na hiyo time nimeitwa ndio time natahili kuwa hapa class. So I just call mwambie leo sipatikani. So nyinyi mnakuja mwalimu hayuko because I'm very busy attending interviews or serving people elsewhere. Simply because nilikuwa threatened pale, nikaona ni kama kazi yangu inaweza fanya nini? Inaweza. That's something you really need to check. You really need to check. And it is advisable even when you are managing any kind of a relationship to avoid instances which can create a threat to your friend. We have instances which create threats. You people, at your level, I expect, even if you're not married, you at one point or the other, you have a strong relationship. Do we create threats? For example, a very simple one. Tumekaa tu hapo kwa table room na mawife, simu ipigwe. Alafu nishindwe kuchukua. Ni kweli ni mtu ananisumbua, but do you think atafikiria ni mtu ananisumbua? Hizo simu zingine unachukuanga. Mbona hii mchukui nikiwa hapa? Ama unachukua unaenda kuongelea huko. Hata kama hutaulizwa ukirudi, ama hutaulizwa kwa nini mchukui, you have already sent what? A threat, unexpected reaction. Ama mmepatana na mtu tu kwa street, mkiwa mnatembea na rafiki yako, ile salamu mmesalimiana, hata hamsalimianagi hivyo na huyo mtu wako. Those things happen. Okay, let me not get into a lot of that. But what I'm saying is, don't send what? Threats. Don't send threats. Even where you work, unaanza kumiss job, unaanza kuchelewa, unaanza kujificha mapema. Are you sending a signal to your employer that huyu mtu maybe kuna mahali anajipanga, kuna mahali anaenda? Jana hukuwa, leo umechelewa, na ile masaa umekuja umeng'ara. Are you telling us most likely umetoka kwa interview? Utaanza kujipanga so that you don't get us at what? At a surprise. And it will be too bad if hiyo threat ulikuwa unatupea, it was empty. Unajua kama it was something good na tukugundue mapema ni sawa, utaenda. Lakini kama haikuwa empty, ni kujifanya ulikuwa unajifanya na uambie wewe kwenda, it will be too bad. So it's good to avoid those impacts. The other thing again is just like what we have said. What is the alternative use of the resources that will become idle? Tukifunga hii room, tukue hatufunzi A.M.A. What else can we do in this room? The other thing is, what is the relationship between this product and these others? You know, life, I keep on telling you, it's about relationships. Ukiangalia kama politics vile zinachezwa, we only need to get one person and we assume tumepata hawa wengine. Anaanza akiingia Azimio inafikiria imepata Wakamba wote. Akienda Kenya Kwanza inafikiria Wakamba wote wame. Does that happen? Uhuru akienda hii side, Wakikuyu wote wameenda. Those are relationships you cannot ignore. But ukipata Kimani ameenda Azimio ama ameenda Kenya Kwanza, does it mean sasa Wakikuyu wote wameenda Kenya Kwanza ama Azimio? Yes, so you need to check what is the relationship between this person and the others. What's the relationship between this product and these other products? Because there is a product to discontinue from your range and you find all the others are not working. Na kuna ingine una discontinue and it does not get noticed. Mtu kama mimi sasa tuseme right now I'm supporting Kenya Kwanza. Niseme kuanzia leo mimi nimeenda Azimio. Na mtu hata atajua. Lakini kulia akipiga makelele kidogo hapo na kapo, that's what you see. You need to check the level of influence of that person or that product. The other thing that you need to check is future prospects. Right now, the product could be making losses, but tomorrow, does it have prospects of making profits? And this is a very, very important factor in any relationship. Actually, I normally advise people or my students like you, anytime you meet a person, hata ukimpima hivyo in your wisdom na umuone ni kule kabisa, don't dismiss them in a way that they will notice that you have taken them to be useless. Because things change. Today I could be kule kabisa, but tomorrow I'm very useful. That's all. The other day I met Professor Demo. Demo. He had a function at the UN. And he was telling us how after he was not appointed PS, how people never called him. Then after 1 week, he was appointed as the ambassador to, is it Germany or where? Belgium, eh? Yes. Immediately, the calls started coming. The same fellow Jana, you could not call. But he has just been announced that now you are the ambassador to Belgium. Value has changed. So sasa kama Jana mkuu kwa hiyo meeting ulikudharau. Leo unafikiria atakukubali. That's why it's very, very important to handle people in a way that they don't know, especially if you have written them off. Najua kuna mtu anakuja kwako unamwapima hivyo, unashindwa mnaweza pelekana wapi ama what you can discuss, what you can have in common. Don't let them know. Dismiss them in a good way because tomorrow you will require them. And future is very important. Remember, even in finance, the value of an asset is the future cash flows, the present value of the future cash flows. So when I come your way for a relationship, don't look at my current status, look at my future. If my future appears bright, then be near me. If my future appears useless, then don't come near me. Look at even the political alignments that we are witnessing right now. Why are some people going to Ruto, wengine wanaenda kwa Raila, lakini hatuoni wengi wakienda kwa Wachakoya? It's about the future. Unaangalia unaona nani anaweza kuwa na chance and they go there. So it's very, very important to look at that. So I think with those very many remarks, we can attempt one question. Yeah, question number 13. So hii tutasoma tu tukijibu, ni a very simple question. Advise whether product A should be deleted from the product range, giving reasons for your decision. We are going to have analysis table. Analysis table. Product A retains let's see what will happen if you retain product A. When you retain product A, ukiangalia kwa hiyo table, let's talk of sales in units. Sales in units. And we can work with our figures when they are in thousands. When they are in thousands. So sales in units, we have 100 plus 120 plus 80. So add those figures. How many units? 300. We have revenue. Now revenue, you add all of them. We have 1,500 plus 1,440 plus 880. That's 820. Then we raise costs. And these costs, the first one is material. Material is 500 plus 480 plus 240. 1220. Twende kwa labor. Labor is 400 plus 320 plus 160. 880. Kuja kwa overheads. Overheads tuko na 650 plus 600 plus 360 1610. So net profits. 110. 110. So that is what happens if you retain product A. Now for us to go to okay, we will need to say analysis table. Analysis table. Product A dropped. Product A dropped. Product A drops. So we will have sales in units. Sales in units. Then we will have revenue with less costs. And this cost we have material. We have labor. We have overheads. And then okay, so I wanted to separate them. So rudi hapa juu uandike variable. I want us to separate, lakini hakuna shida if you are combining, haina shida. Less variable costs, alafu bado tuseme hapa less fixed costs. So the fixed costs, kuna labor na kuna overheads. Alafu tutakuwa na net profit. Tutakuwa na net profit. When you are dealing with a decision, it's good to separate, because tumekuwa tukisema variable costs are relevant and fixed costs are what? Irrelevant. So now that we are going to draw, there is a likelihood they may be distorted. But here, retain here in a mambo, you just take everything the way it is. So hiyo tutafungia hapo. Then down there sasa useme workings. Kuja kwa workings. Andika workings. Hebu soma hizo additional information. Additional information kuja tuchambue. If you look at the first information, inasema labor costs. So tumesema workings, So tuanze na labor costs. Labor costs takuwa na products, tukuwe na fixed, alafu tutaweka variable huko. So let's start with the product A. The fixed costs are A ni ngapi? No, the total labor cost are A ni Sini 400. Na tumeambiwa what percent is fixed? 25. So 0.25. That gives us what? That gives us 100. So the variable will be 400 minus 100, which is what? 300. When we come to product B, we have labor of 320 multiplied by 0.25. Multiplied by 0.25. That gives us what? 80. So the variable will be 320 minus 80. That gives us what? 240. When we go to product C, we have 160. 160 inatupea ngapi? So
recording in progress.
okay, let's go to the other one that is mentioned is overhead costs. Overhead costs. Now, in the overhead costs, we will need to get the overhead absorption rate. The overhead absorption rate. If you look at situation information number gani, and you see that is talking about overheads, it is saying 900,000 are fixed. Can you see that? And we are told they are absorbed on the basis of the units. So these ones you will divide by the 100,000 units plus the 120,000 units plus the 80,000 units. 80,000 units. So that we get the per unit. Hmm? 3 shillings. Now this is 3 shillings per what? Per unit. So if we have now the product here and we get the fixed, it will be argued like this. Product A, we can argue in terms of thousands. So it is 100 times 3, that will give us what? 300. Product B, it will be 120 times 3, that will give us 360. We will give C, it will be 80 times 3. 80 times 3, that will give us 240, and we need to get the total. Is this going back to 900? Okay, Then we come and work out the variable. The variable will be ukiangalia pale kwa overheads, A ilikuwa na 650. So you raise the 300, so that gives you 350. Huyu mwingine alikuwa na 600 minus 360. That gives you 200 and what? 40. Yule mwingine ako na 360. So 360 minus 240, that gives us 120. Kuna kitu kingine wamesema that we may require a working selling price for product C. The selling price for product C right now, product C iko na revenue ya 880,000 and the units are 80. So if you divide that, you'll be able to know how much. Then you minus, I think we are told we have to reduce the price by what? 1.5. So you minus 1.5. Minus 1.5. You have 9.5. So those workings, at least they will minimize the workings we require here on the table. What we are told when you look at this question about product A is that we will discontinue product A. So these units of 100, they will not be there. We will have this one 120 of B, and then this 80 of C, but this 80 of C, you tutaleta hii 100. So it's like now C, we shall make 180 instead of 80. So the total still goes back to what? 300. The total still goes back to 300. Let's go to revenue. Revenue, this revenue of A will not be there. Tutakuwa na hii revenue ya B, 1440, plus the revenue of C. Na C, tunaona sasa C itakuwa na 180 units. Na tushajua that the selling price is 9.5. The selling price is 9.5. That 150. That 150. Let's come to material. Now material, this one will be no more, but this one for B will remain. This one for C, 240, will remain. But I said earlier, a cost is called variable if the total amount will change as the number of units change. You can see this one was for 80 units, but now we are looking for 180 units. So the units have changed, and therefore the variable cost must also change. So how you effect the change is by first of all dividing this by the current units. You do 1 unit in how much, then you multiply by the new number of units. So this one we shall divide it by 80, and then you multiply by 180. Hmm? 10, 20. We go to labor. Labor, already to say divide. Upper. This one for A is no more, but for B is 240. Then there is this one of C, 120. You first of all divide by 80. Sijui kama inasema the variable cost for labor will increase. Kama hiyo. It will go up by 20, the variable, eh? Yes. So then this one you multiply by 1.2. Multiply by 1.2. Oh, sorry. Good. Thank you. We multiply by 180. $564. Put the overheads the same style. This one of 350 will not be there. Utakuwa na huyu wa 240 plus hii 120. You divide by 80, then multiply by 180. $510. Labor is the fixed one, eh? Na hii. Tumeambiwa, what are they saying? Tumeambiwa the fixed labor cost for A will disappear. Sindio? Na ka statement kanasema hivyo. The fixed labor cost associated with A will disappear. So tutakuwa na hii ya B 80. And then this one for C will double. I think the last information inasema the fixed one will double. Is that so? Hiyo ni overheads. Labor, I'm saying for A imeenda. Yeah, C, it is going to double. So that gives us 160. And then the overheads tunaambiwa a sixth. Is it a sixth or a fifth? A sixth will disappear. So that tells you utachukua hizi zote that are fixed. Naona hii 900. The 900 utoe 1 out of 6 of what was in A. A ilikuwa na 300. A 6. because fixed costs are supposed to remain constant. $850. So give me the net profit now. Graph? 46. 46. So what advice do you offer? Okay, so tumesema the advice is that we should retain, eh? Yeah. So I think we will call it a day at that juncture. Now on Saturday, we are through with that topic of non-routine decisions. So next lesson we start on something new. So we call it a day at that point. Thank you.